Public Health Minister reassures Cameroonians that government has put in place measures to contain the COVID-19 virus, which has already hit Cameroon with 2 cases so far confirmed. Congolese President Sassou Nguesso launches Weso-Sangmelima Transborder Road in the presence of Cameroon's Minister of Public Works, Emmanuel Jumesi. The road is expected to ease transportation of goods and persons from Pointe-Noire in Congo to Douala in Cameroon. And Cameroon's First Lady, Mrs. Chantal Biya, presides over the 31st edition of the International Women's Day tomorrow at the 20th May Boulevard. A boulevard which has been given a facelift to give the event the grandeur it deserves, plus the distribution of invitation cards. Statesman Dr. ADAMOU NJOYA, an astute politician and mayor of the Fumban Council, dies at the age of 78 in Yaoundé. What legacy has he left behind? Find out in this newscast. And these are top stories. Thanks for joining us on the 7:30 News. I'm Gladys Tata. 2 cases of the coronavirus has been confirmed in Cameroon, but the population has been reassured on what is done to contain the COVID-19 in the country within the shortest time possible. This was a press conference today in Yaoundé that brought together the Minister of Communication, of the Ministry of Public Health and of Livestock. All 3 dwelled on measures put in place to stop the spread of the disease and to reinforce epidemiology surveillance across the country. Beatrice Ngom reports.
With the 2 cases of COVID-19 confirmed, Cameroonians have become panicky, but government is reassuring.
A protocol of government actions is being implemented in strict compliance with the international health regulation in terms of coordinating operations across the country. The Health Emergency Operations Center has moved from an alert state to an activity state.
Epidemiological surveillance has been beefed up to help contain the disease in record time, official sources say.
National security has been set up to a maximum level in the various strategic access points in Cameroon, be it at the airport, the seaports, or with special emphasis regarding the movement of people and animals.
The Ministers of Public Health, of Livestock and of Communication have told the press at a press conference in Yaoundé that communication around the disease is vital. The media should inform citizens on measures taken by governments to protect them.
Isolation space and room have also been identified, respectively in airports, seaports, and health facilities to accommodate cases throughout the country. Rapid response and investigation teams are deployed in all 10 regions of the country.
For now, 88 countries in the world are under epidemiology alert, Cameroon inclusive. Experts say transmission is from animal to man and the disease spreads through the pangolin. The respect of basic hygiene rules have been recommended, while the population can always call the toll-free number 1510 for any emergency.
In the meantime, health personnel have been trained on how to receive coronavirus patients in hospitals before transferring them to the isolated unit at the Yaoundé Central Hospital for proper treatment. Our reporter, Alice Mbey, visited the Yaoundé Teaching Hospital, CHU, to find out the measures put in place to receive any identified case before transferring to the Yaoundé Central Hospital. Here is what she brought back for the news.
Emergency response training is being given to medical personnel of the Yaoundé Teaching Hospital, CHU, on how to approach suspected cases of COVID-19. As the country counts 2 cases, the medical personnel have been drilled on personal security measures. They have been advised to wear calottes, gloves, masks, and protective shoes before approaching the patients.
We have put the posters everywhere and have provided protective masks for nurses. If there is any suspected case, we receive the patient inside the car to see if the person is manifesting any symptoms of this disease. Then we will refer the person to the isolation unit in the Yaoundé Central Hospital.
In addition to sensitization through posters, an isolation box has been set up to retain confirmed cases before they are transferred to the isolation unit.
La procédure de prise en charge déjà c'est
identified inside the hospital, we have a box where we will isolate the victim and give him first aid treatment before transferring the patient to the Yaoundé Central Hospital.
Health personnel have been given tips on personal hygiene, including washing of hands with soap and water, the use of hand sanitizers, coughing masks, and to avoid direct contacts with infected patients.
COVID-19 has left most Cameroonians frantic, pharmacists say, especially from the time they got wind of the 2 cases quarantined at the Yaoundé Central Hospital. As a result, the demand for face masks and hand sanitizers has increased. Most Cameroonians want to practice strict hygienic conditions as a preventive measure from the coronavirus. Just what impact has this had to the market? Yoti Kaleli Songe tells us.
Business is booming for those who sell hand sanitizers, other disinfectants and face masks in Cameroon. This because 2 cases of the coronavirus have already been confirmed in the country, and the population wants to stay safe.
I have my own disinfectant, I have my own. They are not even arguing the price. When I say 500, they just buy. If I increase, they will still buy because the wholesaler are not still having it again. It's finished. There's scarcity because the demand is more than supply.
I bought my mask at Carrefour Obili. There was a young man selling and shouting, "Coronavirus 100."
Most pharmacies in Yaoundé have already run out of disinfectants and masks.
We have something like 100 persons who are demanding masks, disinfecting fluid. People are very afraid.
The masks are finished. We had a few that we shared to our clients.
When the demand exceeds supply, a different strategy is adopted.
We are trying to make a hydroalcoholic solution.
The demand has become very high. People are soliciting us to give them the procedure for hydroalcoholic solutions. We cannot satisfy everyone's demand, so we respond case after case.
That or covering the nose and mouth with a t-shirt. Some persons have even suggested alternatives to prevent a possible infection, such as eating garlic or ginger.
People said you can eat garlic, people say you can drink honey, but me, I don't know. Because I'm not a medical personnel, so I believe in disinfectant.
To others, the coronavirus is just a comedy as people wearing masks are considered jesters and salutations remain a cultural habit difficult to break.
And on to other news, the Congolese section of the Transborder road from Saint-Melima to Wesso has been launched by the President of Congo, Denis Sassou Nguesso. The launch took place yesterday in Swanke in the Republic of Congo in the presence of Cameroon's Minister of Public Works, Emmanuel Nganu Djumesi. The Transborder road is a regional integration initiated to ease transportation of goods and persons from Pointe Noire in Congo to Douala in Cameroon. Our special envoy to Congo, Joyce Kimbe Fawaju, has more.
By this act, President Denis Sassou Nguesso officially opens to circulation the Congolese section of the Transborder Wesso-Saint-Melima road by cruising on 50 kilometers in company of Cameroonian Minister of Public Works, Emmanuel Nganu Djumesi. A historic moment for regional integration.
Un grand pas, oui. Nous sommes ici à la frontière.
A great step, yes. We are here at the border. We see the road going to Saint-Melima. The minister told me that the road will be completed end of this year. Soon, we will have a road linking the 2 ports, Pointe Noire to Douala, Wesso, Saint-Melima, Yaoundé, Douala. We can say it is an accomplishment. We will pass the relay to the next generations for the development of Africa.
Il faut que vous montriez digne de cela pour poursuivre le développement de l'Afrique.
During their speeches, before the cutting of the symbolic ribbon, the representative of the Economic Community for Central African States and the Congolese Minister of Infrastructure saluted the convergence of visions of President Chantal Biya and President Denis Sassou Nguesso by uniting their people through the road. When the ongoing construction on the Cameroonian side between Sangmalima and Tam will be finished, one will leave Yaoundé to Brazzaville in Congo and vice versa, gliding on tar.
And on to one of our leads story, the president of the Cameroon Democratic Union Party, UDC, and mayor of Fumban Council, Dr. ADAMOU NJOYA, is no more. He died today in Yaoundé at the age of 78 after a prolonged illness. Kiliandan Difon tells us who Dr. ADAMOU NJOYA was.
2020 would have clocked exactly 78 years for Dr. ADAMOU NJOYA, but death came in to take the acclaimed statesman, moral and ethics crusader to eternity. He bows out of life stage as a long-serving, incontestable mayor of Fumban, the capital of one of the most established traditional kingdoms in Africa, of which he is a prince. Dr. ADAMOU NJOYA also quits the scene as the current president of the Cameroon Democratic Union, CDU, opposition political party, since its creation in 1991 with the advent of multi-party politics in the country in 1990. In 2004, he reviewed his efforts from introducing ethics in every sphere of national life to fighting corruption, which had eaten deeper into the fabric of the Cameroonian society. He became a top state official as far back as 1960, when he was a member of the leading officials of the Ministry of External Relations. He later occupied top positions at the Presidency of the Republic, the then Ministry of National Education as minister, among many other portfolios. He had also served as a member of Parliament, which he gave up to his wife to maintain the mayorship of his hometown, Fumban. The late statesman, with a PhD in international public law and political science, obtained in France, is also a writer who leaves behind his wife, 5 children, national and international communities to mourn him.
And may his soul rest in perfect peace. Among the city mayors elected recently across the country, one has entered the history as the very first city mayor from an opposition party, the NUDP. In the following write-up, Silas Nkwan profiles Bobo Saliu, the city mayor of the town of Montgomery, whose rich and long-standing career in politics played in his favor during his election by all 92 municipal councillors, including those of the other parties. His report.
Admirers call him the Elephant, Thomas Sankara, Town AC, Mairiga, His Excellency, or the Mayor of Paris, builder of bridges. But that is hardly the only unusual thing about Bobo Saliu. The 55-year-old mayor is the very first president of the youth section of the NUDP party in the Vienna division. In 1996, he was elected national vice president of the youth wing of his party, deputy mayor of the then urban council from 1996 to 2002, and municipal councillor in the same council from 2000 to 2007. Bobo Saliu has enjoyed a long-standing and rich career in politics since early 1990s, and his illustrious career played in his favor when the inhabitants of Ngaoundéré bestowed their trust in him by giving him 100% vote in the elections. He is the first ever city mayor in the country from an opposition party. Among others, he has promised to intensify the fight against urban disorder, create jobs for the youth, and deliver better services to improve the living conditions of the population.
Over in the northwest region, the Bamenda city mayor-elect Paul Achobong has announced plans to transform the city area by involving all the inhabitants in the project. Mr. Achobong has pledged his administration's determination to sort out issues pertaining to water supply, electricity, garbage collection, and the construction of sports infrastructure. Winston Lebgar now examines the mayor's life, character, and work plans.
This is the man to run the affairs of the Bamenda City Council area for the next 5 years. He is Paul Achobong, born on September 26, 1965. And the Pioneer City Mayor has big plans to make the area clean.
To help them distinguish between combustible and incombustible waste, we're going to find a way of disposing it. We're going to work out such that even in the main market, every shed is going to have 2 containers. You have one for combustible, one for decombustible waste. You can put them in containers and work out a strategy that this waste will not go in the same evacuation can.
The holder of a diploma in engineering is also thinking about a proper football stadium for the Bamenda City area.
Before the end of my mandate, we're going to construct not just an ordinary stadium, but a stadium that will conform to international standards.
Water scarcity and power cuts are also of great concern to the people here.
We're going to work out a strategy wherein water will be able to reach every home at minimal production cost.
This father of 3 also holds a bachelor's degree in theology, and he is a pastor of the Overcomers Chapel. Paul Achobong says his administration intends to carry out projects that will leave an indelible memory in the minds of the people of the Bamenda City area.
And this press release just coming into the studio, Mrs. Chantal Biya, wife of the President of the Republic, will on Sunday, 8th of March 2020 at 11 a.m. at the 20th May Boulevard preside at the march past marking the celebration of the 35th edition of the International Women's Day in Cameroon. And this press release has been signed by the Minister, Director of the Civil Cabinet, Samuel Vondo Ayolo. And here is the program. 7 a.m., arrival of officials of the Ministry of Women's Empowerment and the Family and March Past Coordination Teams. 8:30 a.m. assembly of paraders and entertainment groups. 9 a.m. arrival of guests. 9:30 a.m. Arrival of administrative authorities. 10:20 a.m. arrival of invited heads of diplomatic missions and representatives of international organizations. 10:30 a.m. arrival of invited members of government and persons ranking as such. 10:40 a.m. arrival of the Minister of Women's Empowerment and the Family. 11:45 a.m. end of arrival of personalities at the 20th May Boulevard. And at 11 a.m. arrival of Mrs. Chantal Biya, wife of the President of the Republic. A welcome by the Minister of Women's Empowerment and the Family, handing over the bouquet of flowers, installation at the grandstand, singing of the national anthem, start of March Past, 1:30 p.m., end of March Past, singing of the women's anthem, departure of Mrs. Chantal Biya, wife of the President of the Republic, from the 20th May Boulevard, and launch by invitation, end of ceremony. And as preparations intensify ahead of the International Women's Day tomorrow, most women have had the hope of seeing the First Lady at the 20th May Boulevard. According to them, it is always a unique moment to commune with Mrs. Chantal Biya, UNESCO's Goodwill Ambassador, who pays attention to vulnerable persons and improve on the status of the women and the girl child. Tonight, Staff Lady Enanga Kebi comes back to the works of the First Lady in promoting gender.
Celebrating Women's Day with Mrs. Chantal Biya at the May 20th Boulevard is always the best phase of the event in the nation's capital. To many of these women, marching past in front of the grandstand is an opportunity for them to acknowledge the many good things Mrs. Chantal Biya has been doing to ameliorate their socio-political status in society. Think of the inauguration of the Hospital Center for Applied Research, Endoscopic Surgery and Human Reproduction, (DOPCRASE), in May 2016 by the First Lady and highly patronized by her. This has been bringing smiles and hope to many women and couples with procreation problems. Here, the health of the woman is the utmost priority. Next is the Circle of Friends of Cameroon, dubbed CERAC. This philanthropic association, created and headed by Mrs. Chantal Biya, has been touring the rural and enclave zones to bring assistance to the rural masses, women, youths, children, the vulnerable persons, and orphans. CERAC has been renovating and equipping schools and health centers, while the rural women, who are mostly farmers, have been receiving modern farm tools, as well as farming skills from Sarah. As for the Chantal Biya Foundation, created in 1994 by the First Lady, this humanitarian structure has been assisting the needy populations in the domains of health, education, and many social services. The Mother and Child Center of the Foundation operates as a complete pediatrics hospital, champion in the fight against the reduction of the mother-to-child transmission of the HIV/AIDS virus. The AIDS battle with Mrs. Chantal Biya has advanced progressively and to the level of research. Here, the birth of the Chantal Biya International Research Center, dubbed CRTV. The fight against the spread of the AIDS virus has reached the advanced level of a quest for a pediatrics vaccine. On the political scene, Mrs. Chantal Biya has been encouraging women to play an active role in politics. The 2020 twin elections have proved it. More women will get into parliament this time around, while more women will also be presiding at the head of local councils. With the encouragement from Mrs. Chantal Biya, tomorrow's Women's Feast with Mrs. Chantal Biya will witness the participation of the cream of the female folks.
Female workers at the Prime Minister's office have frowned at prejudices suffered by female albinos due to their genetic condition. Under the stewardship of the Prime Minister's Special Advisor, the women at the Prime Minister's office donated food and cosmetic products to the Association for the Defense of Interest and Solidarity of Albinos. The gesture is part of activities to commemorate the International Women's Day, as staff building correspondent in Agakebi in Sisaku Tamko tells us.
It was to break the stereotypes and stigma vis-a-vis albinos that female workers at the Prime Minister's office reached out to the albino community under the auspices of Special Advisor to the Prime Minister, Berthan Doe.
Most people look at the albinos as if they are witches. They look at their body, and even in school they are discriminated against in every aspect of their lives. So we thought we should come here and encourage them.
Group under the World Association for the Defense of Interest and Solidarity of Albinos, more than 50 of them receive foodstuff and other products that will likely enhance visual impairment and skin sensitivity. This was at the National Museum.
Women of the Ministry of the Prime Minister's office, supported by the Prime Minister, of course, have thought about us and have decided to do something, especially knowing the delicacy of our skin. The sun is the worst thing that you want to put any albino through. So I was really very happy that sunscreen lotions and bath creams were given so that they should take care of their skins.
A goodwill gesture appreciated by the recipients.
Some will help our members to protect their skin, and what we can say is thank you very much.
After the gift, the most important thing for us is that we have to be equal.
As a minority group that face different forms of discrimination due to their genetic condition, the gift ceremony was an opportunity to reiterate their determination to ask for equal rights in education, employment, and also to learn more about skin maintenance and other medical issues typical to them.
And on our Women's Day slot tonight, we profile a rural woman, Irene Gertrude, who has been earning her keep from a fish business for over 40 years. The inhabitant of Kribi in the South region buys and resells either fresh or smoked fish, a business which has sustained her and her family for years. Rainatu Sali has more.
At the first cockcrow, the early bird gets set for sea. Once at sea, her command is delivered. Gertrude pays for any species of fish the nets could catch, as her customers' choices are as varied.
Here they save those who have arrived first. Unfortunately today, they caught just a small quantity of fish, so I pay for what I can find.
And off she goes to resell, either fresh or smoked. Gertrude has been earning her keep from the fish business for over 40 years now. With just a meager starting capital of 3,000 francs, she has been able to gain enough money to build this house in which she raised her kids. At 60, Gertrude has no plans of retiring from the fish business. She is rather exploring new avenues, a cassava transformation industry to be set up with capital from a lifelong fish trade.
Sporting encounters, keep fit exercises and conferences characterized empowerment activities carried out by the National Gendarmerie female workers during the week running to the International Women's Day celebration tomorrow. Kill and Dandifon kept track of the major activities and put them together in this report.
Technical advisor number 1 to the Secretary of State at the Ministry of Defense in charge of the National Gendarmerie is this lady, Colonel Elizabeth Handred Menzi. Here at the head office of the National Gendarmerie Command Schools and Training Centers, Kang Yayapin Yaounde, she ably represented her boss in a women empowerment conference. In one of the 2 exposés, Dr. Francois Bingono, a social scientist, told the participants that traditionally, spiritually, and in matters of discipline and self-restraint, women lead the world. In another exposé, Dr. Emmanuel Monkam, a university don, enlightened the gendarme ladies on the pros and cons of the use of social media, especially as security officers. In another area, still within the framework of activities leading up to the 35th edition of the International Women's Day, they carried out a series of keep fit exercises and lead sports. The high point of the sporting activities was the handball encounter that pitted the Defense and Security Forces handball team, represented by the ladies of the National Gendarmerie, to the Tonel Kalara Club Tekase counterparts. The Tekase ladies lifted the trophy by a narrow margin of 1 point difference in a ceremony chaired by the Central Coordination Director of the National Gendarmerie Operations, Brigadier General Daniel Iloko Binjok, who represented the Secretary of State at the Ministry of Defense in charge of the National Gendarmerie, Galax Itoga.
Women of the Directorate General of Taxation have crowned week-long activities in prelude to the International Women's Day with a football final at their new multipurpose sports complex on the outskirts of Yaoundé. The football final was witnessed by the Director General of Taxation, Modeste Fopa Fotwang. Gilbert Ongene reports.
It is at this newly constructed multipurpose sports complex of the National Mutual Assistance Fund of Taxation staff on the outskirts of Yaoundé that women of the Directorate General of Taxation wrap up week-long activities in prelude to Women's Day.
Today, we just decided, the GM decided to have this organization where women are all in communion.
This final pitting the Regional Center of Taxation for the Center number 1 dressed in blue against ladies of the Central Services of Taxation in sky blue jerseys ended in penalty shootouts with the women of the Center Regional Taxation Center carrying the day.
Today we are in a football final. After the football final, take part in the meal offered by the Director General.
When we started the semi-finals, we knew that we had to take this cup. But because of some little problems, we missed it last time. We didn't miss it. But this time around, at least we have the third position. So
it all ended in merrymaking with the Director General of Taxes, Modeste Fopa Fotwang, sharing a common meal with the women.
We've decided to come in.
Over in the Southwest region, several activities are still being organized in the Southwest region ahead of the 35th edition of the International Women's Day billed for Sunday, 8th of March. Among them are sports, educative and health talks. In the following report, Bridget Ndep Assam B1 gives an in-depth analysis of the activities.
The 5th edition of the Vasingi Women Community Mini Marathon once again brought together over 300 women across the city of Boya of various age groups under 5 different categories. This in a bid to prepare them health and otherwise ahead of this year's edition of the International Women's Day.
When you bring them together like this, they relax themselves. And when they come together, they share ideas. It is said sport is wealth. Sport sport is hard. And once they do sports activities like this, we said it helps in their health, also it helps in their physical building.
The race to benefit women was run on a course of about 8 kilometers and more. That is from Palapala Field, Boyo Town to Bova Village and back. Winners received trophies in cash and kind. To many participants, the event also served as a great unifying factor.
I just want to thank the organizers for organizing this event because it has brought unity among the community by bringing people together. There is peace, there is love, everybody's happy.
The Vasingi Women Community Mini Marathon also witnessed other activities such as the community tug of war, moments of recognition, free screening of HIV and AIDS, hypertension, diabetes in an atmosphere of amazing fanfare. After keeping fit, the women of the Southwest region are bracing towards proper celebration this Sunday, the 8th of March 2020.
And that was Yvonne Esamengowo reporting there. The road to women emancipation in Cameroon has been rough and a difficult one over the years. This notwithstanding, the women folk in Cameroon have made giant strides towards the top. Emanuela Venue now takes a look at the road covered this far in this report.
They have been on the quest to be given equal chances like men for decades. The clamor for women's rights and emancipation has moved from equality over the years to equity today. But these women believe a lot of strides have been made.
Much is being done because in every sector I see how they try to balance up.
We can't deny that the government is making a lot of improvement in order to give access to better education to young girls, to avoid all these early marriages.
The advancements so far in this domain may be visible, yet some others think the pace is slow as more is expected.
There is no female mayor in the whole of Yaoundé. No woman has ever been Prime Minister or Minister of Finance.
We have to improve the access to education to women, also to give the opportunities to women to have access to top position.
If she feels that she is up to the task in doing a particular thing, they should let her do it.
The women want to see society treat them in line with their capabilities and not simply because of their gender. Yet a good number of women today think that a woman's problem remains a woman.
The problem with the woman is the woman. When it comes to voting, most women give advantages to men.
Some women should support others to grow, because if we don't vote ourselves, we don't help each other, we can ask to men to do what we cannot do.
Male chauvinism, the absence of many women in politics, others in the science fields and more are what the women folk in Cameroon expect to see change. And as March 8 celebration approaches, more and more women visit markets to get gowns or kabas, which they will wear tomorrow. Though there exist several designs made by tailors for them to choose, however, they complain of hikes in prices. Joyce Tata visited some markets and tailor workshops in the nation's capital to find out how most ladies have given preferences to certain designs. Here's our report.
Men in action to ensure women are very well celebrated tomorrow in an impeccable atmosphere. Every position at this point in time is used to straighten the red carpet for a grandiose event. While at work, some of the ladies' minds are far off, and so there's still time to relax while the men do the work. A service which Mr. Tangana has been carrying out for 11 years now.
We've been here since 6 a.m. so everyone can finish on time and go prepare for the event. We are in charge of cleaning the tribunes, the chairs here at the boulevard. Decoration will follow in the evening. The ladies need to be at ease too on their day, so by evening we will bring mobile toilets here.
At the Ministry of Women's Empowerment and the Family, it is a busy atmosphere with supervisors ensuring the 40 hostesses to serve the audience at the 20th May Boulevard and the Hilton Hotel are on point.
Pas de faux ongles aussi, n'est-ce pas? C'est boucle d'oreille, n'est-ce pas? Bijoux, on enlève les bijoux.
Simultaneously, at the mail service, the personnel patiently wait to hand in invitation cards for latecomers.
The card you see here is a person who came late, but everybody who came before we are beginning to this work have taken his card.
All hands have been put on deck for the success of the 2020 edition of the International Women's Day in Yaoundé, a day which celebrates the women of the nation.
And Joyce Tatade was reporting on the last-minute preparations at the 20th May Boulevard and at the Ministry of Women's Empowerment and the Family. And on to sports, the Confederation of African Football, CAF, has expressed concerns over the spread of the deadly coronavirus in some African countries that risk affecting organized by CAF. In a statement on the situation, CAF says they have set up a medical committee to monitor the evolution of the pandemic in the affected countries. Baldwin Sama tells us more.
CAF's decision to the coronavirus threats to upcoming competitions in Africa is timely, as the African football body simply calls for vigilance in their statements. CAF is following with great attention the evolution of the situation of the pandemic affecting the continent, with major countries concerned such as Egypt, Algeria, Tunisia, Morocco, Nigeria, Senegal, South Africa and Cameroon. CAF has mandated the medical committee to monitor the evolution of the disease and to set up measures to protect the health of players and all actors of the game. A team has been set up under the authority of the President of the Confederation of African Football, made up of experts from various fields, particularly medical, who are essentially responsible for the health of the players. CAF says they are not yet extremely worried, but remain vigilant with regards to future tournaments such as the CAF Champions League, the CAF Confederations Cup, and the African Nations Championship. In their concluding statements, the Confederation of African Football CAF states that in a situation required and in agreement with the countries concerned, matches behind closed doors, postponements, or even cancellations are envisaged as an advisory to the actors of the game is being promulgated in conformity with guidelines from the World Health Organization.
And that was the 7:30 news. Thanks for watching. Atabadine Omar will be here at 8:30 for the news in French. I'll be glad to have you all back tomorrow. Good night.
CRTV News, ici, toute l'info.